Welcome to BIV Today, the daily business podcast from the Newsroom of Business in Vancouver. I'm Kirk LaPointe, publisher and editor-in-chief. Today, part two of a two-part series featuring this year's winners of the Chief Financial Officer of the Year Awards from us at BIV. These awards and today's podcast are brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of British Columbia and by PricewaterhouseCoopers. The CPABC and PwC are stalwart supporters of these awards and of our effort at BIV to recognize excellence, and we're appreciative. Today, you're going to meet the winner in our large private category, Catherine Chu of Global Relay, and the winner in our small company category, Clarence Lee of Appnovation. Let me start with you, Catherine. Can you take us back to, I guess it'll be March 2020, something like that, maybe even sooner. What did you realize that you had to do?
I think we really quickly had to focus on our teams and our people, trying to get them to work from home, doing the, getting new technologies to ensure that we could work efficiently and effectively. So, GoToMeeting, Zoom, all of this, using our soft phones, using our in-house global relay message technology, just trying to make sure that we could keep a connection with our global teams. We were also on a path to continue to grow our headcount and expand our operations internationally. And so it meant how to balance and onboard new people while working remotely and dealing with the pandemic that was evolving rapidly.
That sounds like quite a swirl of events. What was the atmosphere like?
I think it was a lot of nerves for sure. At the time we had a large number of our senior managers in London right when Trudeau said everyone needs to come home now. So it was a bit of not a panic, I would say, but definitely made it interesting to make sure that people got home safely, quickly, and making sure that our teams were running and the company was running effectively. And we were pretty confident in our business continuity plans, given what we do. But when you put them in practice, it's always interesting to see how they plan out. And fortunately, it worked out quite well for us.
Clarence, walk us through your story. Take us back to that lovely couple of weeks there.
Yeah, we experienced very similar things as what Kathleen just described, right? So we had to make sure that we provide a work-safe environment for our colleagues, although it may affect short-term profitability, but it is what it is, right? Like that's our number one priority. It's a corporate responsibility. At the same time, it's always the biggest asset, which is the people. That's for the company, right? So it was for sure our number one priority to make sure that we have the right safety measures in place in order to make sure that our employees feel safe and they are safe. We actually started monitoring the COVID situation very early in the year of 2020 in different countries and cities as we have the global operations, right? I personally was in Hong Kong in early 2002, when they had SARS, right? So I really understand and appreciate the importance of being proactive in these situations. And we are a little bit more fortunate because of the business nature that we have, right? Everyone has a laptop, that's how we, basically use in the company, right? Because we do travel a lot. We work in different places all the time with clients in many different places in the world, right? So from an infrastructure standpoint, we are lucky that, we did not hit too big of a challenge. But at the same time, of course, when it comes down to moving everyone from working from the office or at the clients to working from home and have to completely remotely work with the clients, that obviously was a challenge for everybody on our end as well as the clients.
I mean, but I mean, our information about the coronavirus in the early going was so scant and has proven to be in a lot of ways so wrong. People were afraid to touch their laptops. It's like you were going to get it. You had to wear gloves pretty well to do any keyboarding. You're both supposed to exude confidence and leadership, and the CFOs are supposed to be the real, the eye in the storm, in any organization. But what was worrying you, Catherine?
It was the health of my friends, my family, my colleagues, my team, my own. We really had to make sure that came through the care that I had for people on our teams, right? To make sure that people were healthy, safe, and that was first and foremost the most important, that they felt that they were safe and heard. I think trying to stay calm and exude confidence was definitely a struggle during that time. But I think panic and showing that would have just made it worse for everyone. So I really tried to make sure that, I just kept in contact with my team and let them know how I was feeling as well, but that we had a plan to get us through.
And so, Clarence, did you have to be a bit of a stabilizing force for people?
Yeah, because it was a big change in many different ways all of a sudden, right? Like it's not like you have a transition period, right? It just happened, and you have to adapt to it right away. It's not like here's 3 weeks of time, try to figure out what to do. It wasn't allowed us to have the time to think and to react, right? We have to basically act fast. For example, the need of work from home as a result of the pandemic, it reduced significantly of the ability in terms of how we can look after our colleagues' well-being, right? We used to see them every day at work. If they're struggling with anything, whether it's work-wise or at the personal level, then we can always offer help, right? However, by not seeing them physically right now when the support is most needed, that's quite concerning, and that's not easy to deal with.
Yeah, Clarence, let me stay with you on this. I think people had to find different elements of themselves in order to advance during this period. And I wonder, in your position, both professionally and personally, what did you have to reach back into yourself for?
So a lot of our processes in hiring, onboarding new staff members, coaching, monitoring, mentoring, that all relied heavily in in-person interaction in my company, at least, right? And this has become more and more challenging as a result of the pandemic because people are just not working in the same office anymore, right? For example, it's now very difficult, I would say, as compared to what it was before for our colleagues to just, ask questions when they need help or guidance. Mm-hmm. Because they no longer can just ask the supervisors who just used to sit right beside them, right? Now people are working from home. So you have to set up a meeting, and then in order to consolidate your questions, maybe like once a day or twice a day. So that is making things more difficult to coordinate as a result. And that's very different from what it used to be, right? Like we think we need to really think about the longer term play here in terms of how to pivot. Because I don't think, anytime soon, things are going to be completely going back to normal. Even if after the pandemic, I think the landscape of how business operates have changed. And there may be more and more work from home needs in terms of accommodating different situations, right? So I think we really need to think about what's the longer term play here, and that is something that I think everyone needs to work on.
Yeah, Catherine, pick up on the question on this one, which is what you had to reach back into yourself for. How did you yourself have to adapt?
Yeah, I think Clarence had some really great points, and I completely agree that spontaneity of communication was just not there anymore. So trying to get creative in how to reach people, stay in contact, and we're a very collaborative company, and we work across already many jurisdictions. So being able to continue to do that, but now extending that to people in Vancouver that I used to sit across from. I think, what was the big picture? Like keeping your eye on, okay, what are we really trying to achieve here? What's the big goal here? And it's, making sure that we continue to grow the business safely, continue to keep our people healthy, keep them effective and motivated. And how do we do that? And what do we need to do to make that happen? And it's definitely communication. So effectively communicating with people on a timely basis.
Yeah. Are there things, Catherine, that you've come to value during this period that maybe weren't the same kind of priority pre-pandemic?
Definitely. I mean, I think having that face-to-face communication is so key. Having the team right in front of you, being able to pop into someone's office just to bounce something off. Now you need to schedule a meeting, just like what Clarence was saying. I miss standing around, sounds silly, but standing around at the cafeteria and just having a casual conversation with someone about something other than the pandemic.
Yeah, I know. It infects every conversation, doesn't it? No pun intended. Clarence, what about you? Have you come to value some different things during this period?
I 100% agree with Catherine, right? we used to take a lot of things for granted. I think I value the people around me a lot more these days, because of the pandemic, including my colleagues, my family, and friends for sure, right? Like life is like short and fragile, and I think we should definitely treasure the people around us, more, and that's extremely important. Or it became even more important for me because of the pandemic. And also, at the same time, I think I have a whole new level of appreciation of the power of technology in terms of how it can make an impact. And just look at what we're doing right now, right? This is making things possible, and business continue to operate during the pandemic. Right?
I want to ask both of you about because this would have an impact on your management style. I mean, clearly, in your operations, I think there's a high degree of discipline about a chief financial officer. There's a lot of precision. There's really kind of I think of a structure that's very good. But in the pandemic, not everybody adapted well. I mean, for some people, this triggered a lot of difficulties, and I wonder how you came to adapt yourself in order to deal with people who were struggling. Clarence, why don't you start?
I think, it's very important for us to make sure that we continue to communicate and touch base with the team members and our colleagues. At the work level, that's obviously required because we have to make sure that, we understand how things are going while we're not in the office. But at the same time, we want to make sure that our colleagues are doing well as well at the personal level, because a number of them, or many of them actually, maybe living by themselves, they are, maybe like the only person in the condo unit, and during the lockdown for a good 5-6 months, they cannot see any of their families or friends, just like what normally is, right? And that can become a problem. So we want to make sure that, they are doing well, by checking in on them, have regular meetings with them, to make sure that everything is doing all right. And we also organize, many online group activities to make sure that, people keep up with their social life, right? Like we have online yoga classes, happy hours, and things like that. So that, people have a channel and a place to actually social gather without being physically together.
Yeah. Catherine?
I completely agree. I mean, Global Relay really focuses on its culture, and we pride ourselves on that. So on a normal Friday, there'd be people in our lounge, having a Friday afternoon beer or wine or snack or whatnot, recapping the week. And all of a sudden that went away. So we really had to get creative with our, Friday wine o'clocks or virtual team games. Those sync ups became so important. And not everyone is super comfortable speaking in a massive Zoom conference. So trying to reach out to those who, you may not have heard from in a while, separately, all sorts of communication via phone. Some aren't comfortable with cameras, so it was getting people used to turning on their cameras whenever possible, so you could have some sort of face-to-face communication if possible. Emails, text. The way that you communicate with your team is different, and you just have to find out what people are most comfortable with and staying in contact with them and showing a side of yourself that is you. I mean, I think when your leader is showing that they are authentic and they're also concerned and showing true interest in their team, I think it goes a long way. I really tried to make that come across clear in the way that I communicated with my team and with other individuals in the company.
There's no question that what you had to convey during the pandemic has been different in some respects than what you had conveyed pre-pandemic. But I want to ask you both a little bit about what you feel you learned about yourselves in all of this. How do you feel maybe a little either changed or a little bit more aware? And Catherine?
I think you really have to focus on the big picture and what's important in life. This really shook everything up. I think if you don't enjoy what you're doing, why are you doing it? And so I think the focus on your team's workplace culture, focus on what the goal that we're trying to achieve, it became so much more important. Life is short. So it really it was always a priority for me, but I think it was even more highlighted that at the end of the day, you need to work with people that you care about, for a company that you care about, and that treats you well, and gives you that opportunities that you're looking for, and keep moving forward.
Clarence, what did you learn about yourself?
I found a new level of appreciation actually for the people that I work with, my family, my friends. You know, people are always very important to me. In terms of um, how we treat each other and how we rely on each other, right? It is particularly more, I would say, the obvious and important during the pandemic in terms of how much we rely on each other on a day-to-day basis, and how important friends, families, and colleagues are to everyone, right? And also I learned about how well people can adapt, not only me but I think everybody as well. It amazes me all the time in terms of how fast everyone in our company can adapt. For example, in this situation, how they work with clients, how they work with their work-life balance, looking after the family at the same time looking after work, while things are changing every day, right? So I have a new appreciation in terms of how adaptive people can be.
Yeah, that's great. I've asked so many business leaders this same question, and I've pretty much got the same answer, but I'll test you both. Clarence, do you like your job more now?
Yeah, I think I for sure do. I realize how I can make an impact and help people using digital technology these days, because this is what we do as a business. A lot of times, it's working with businesses to improve their businesses, right? But at the moment like this, I think we all see that technology can be a very powerful thing, and this is one way for me to help our community and to make an impact, to make people's lives better. We work with a lot of pharmaceutical companies, right? And I can see how we can help them to excel in their business so that they can better engage the patients, they can better engage the healthcare professionals, and make people's lives better.
Yeah, so it's affirmed your purpose. It's very interesting. Catherine, what about you?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the flexibility, working from home or remotely anywhere, and being able to honestly reach people in different jurisdictions almost easier, because it's a level playing field really with remote work, has really changed things. We are a global business. I love my job, and I like it more and more every day. I think we've continued to grow through the pandemic, which I think has been amazing. 300 new colleagues and more coming that I have not met. So really, it's been an interesting time. I'm currently on maternity leave, so the fact that I can remote work into wherever I am needed to stay in touch and give my input, it has been, that kind of flexibility has been amazing. I
Yeah,
think
that's interesting. You probably wouldn't have been able to do that before, right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, there's no such thing as maternity leave, I guess, anymore.
Not quite. It's a blend, balance.
Well, Catherine and Clarence, it's been great talking to you both. Congratulations again on the awards this year. You'll be at a ceremony on the 29th here with us at Terminal City Club. But I want to thank you for your time today for discussing.
Thanks so much, Kirk.
Thank you, Kirk.
Thanks,
I'm Kirk LaPointe, publisher and editor-in-chief at Business in Vancouver. Thanks a lot for watching.